All right, so let's get into it. Digital wallet provider Link is making it easy to do all of your cash transactions virtually, meaning you don't have to walk around with cash. They've been around now for over a year, and now we see where NCB is encouraging their customers to use Link as a payment option. So this has become a highly contentious issue, not Link specifically, but this move towards cashless society, all the talk about cashless society. I saw somebody on TikTok doing a video saying the government wants to ban cash. And I'm like, when did they say that? The video started out saying Andrew Holness said he's going to ban cash. I'm like, that's not true. And the video has over 100,000 views and everybody in the comments agreeing. And of course, there's all the conspiracy theories. So we want to talk about this and more, of course, developments with Link as well. Is this the way to go? Let's welcome back John Matthew Sinclair, who is the Chief Product Officer at Link. Hi, John Matthew. You're muted.
Hey, Kalila, how are you doing? Thanks for having me again.
I'm doing well, but not as good as you, because you guys are growing a lot.
We are. Oh. The reception has been amazing so far.
That's great. It's been more than a year now since you launched, right?
16 months. Well, 15 months since we launched. We launched December 2021.
And how has your first official full year in business been?
It has been a roller coaster of a ride. To date, we have about 220,000 customers on the platform. We have onboarded roughly about 5,000 micro merchants. And recently, we launched our business platform. And why? Because when everybody onboarded, they said, I like Link, but where can I use it? So we decided to launch our merchant platform, which was launched at Jam Expo 2 weeks ago. And we have onboarded about 150 merchants in the pilot. And we have some popular merchants on the pilot now. There's Seven Crave, C Sports. If you watch football, you can benefit from the streaming service from C Sport. We have ShipMe, Rocket Ship, Press, and quite a few others on the platform now where you can go. Cafe Blue recently launched last week, Friday. So we have quite a number of merchants on the platform now where you can go and utilize Link and purchase your day-to-day goods.
That's great. And I saw that with Seven Crave probably a couple months ago now. I went to order something on the app and I saw Pay with Link. I'm like, okay, moves being made. And you're absolutely right. So one of the things that I think that has held you back, and others in the ecosystem as well, is where can we spend the money? We have the digital money in our Link wallets, but I can send money to you, you can send money to me. But what I really want money for is to buy things. And if you don't have merchants, then what's the point?
So we looked at our journey in multiple ways. The first way was how do you get funds into the wallet? And luckily for us, we have a partnership with NCB where we got access to the ABMs. So it means that you can walk up to an ABM now without having a bank account, without having an NCB account, and without having a card. Walk into the ABM with your cell phone and you can interface with it and you can cash in and cash out. That was a game changer. The second thing we said is, based on our target market, we're focusing on the unbanked and the underbanked and the people who are very transaction heavy with cash, because Link is a cash replacement app. And we realized that remittances played a major part in this arena. So we partnered with MoneyGram in March to launch remittances, and we've been doing very well with them so far. Processed over $100 million worth of transactions through MoneyGram, through Link. And the news is out, but we are in the process, pending regulatory approval, to sign a deal with GK and Western Union to also offer Western Union services through Link. But that's just the funding journey. And of course, if you're a bank customer, you can utilize your credit card or your debit card to cash into Link. Now, as you said, once you get in, you can do a couple of things. You can buy credit. 95% of Jamaicans are prepaid, so we do buy a lot of airtime and we buy a lot of data plans. You can pay bills. We have bills to pay every month, so you don't need to walk into a payment aggregator. No, you can just sit down at home and for those of us who utilize cash, you can now utilize Link and pay your bills. And of course, you can send money to anybody on the platform. So we launched those things recently. And then we decided that it's time for us to unlock the merchants. And that's where we're going to start to grow the ecosystem. And we looked at some key merchants that we wanted to onboard, merchants that were online specific, like a Seven Crave and a C Sport, merchants that had in-person payments, like Cafe Blue and Rocket Ship Me. And based on that, now we got a lot of feedback from the platform of over 150. We're doing very well on UA campus through Campus Foods. So the UA students are loving the platform, and obviously they're sending
not surprised.
You're right.
I'm not surprised that the younger demographic is gravitating towards it much faster.
They're an excellent testing ground for us, and they do provide a lot of feedback, and they have a lot of activities up there now that they're routing through Link, because cash in itself has its challenges. It's a bit unsafe. You can't walk around with too much cash. You're going to feel a little unsafe. It is a bit cumbersome as well, and it's usually face to face. I have to see it to give you the cash, and especially for the cash heavy and cash centric people, having a digital solution that is easy for them to onboard with is a plus, and that's where Link comes in. So we have now launched our outside of remittances, which was launched in March. We have now launched our merchant platform, and we want you to expect us, follow us, watch this space, but you're going to see some key merchants coming on board. So I know that there's an open chat here, but I would like to ask you to, you can simply post some merchants that you'd want to see linking. I will take those, bring it back to the team, and we'll start to reach out to those merchants. So you can spend Link at your, your favorite watering hole.
I love that. Yeah, use the audience, guys. He wants to know, where do you want to see Link available? So let's take a couple steps back and take some questions from our audience. This one comes from Gada Mullings, who wants to know, how does this link work from someone visiting or for someone visiting from overseas? What are the requirements to sign up?
All right, so that's a really good question. And let me start with, we are regulated by the Bank of Jamaica. Which is good because there is a lot of customer protection built into the Regulatory Act. As it stands now, to sign up for Link, you're going to need to have a TRN and a government-issued ID. That's your passport, Jamaican passport, driver's license, voter's ID. We are looking to build out the infrastructure to onboard non-Jamaicans where you can use a social security number. But as it stands now, you're going to have some type of Jamaican-issued credential, which would be driver's license, voter's ID, passport, and a TRN, and of course your face, and then you can get into Link.
Okay, so if he's a Jamaican living overseas but visiting Jamaica, and if he has a Jamaican ID, passport, driver's license, anything, you can still use your Jamaican ID and gain access. Javon wants to know, what are the requirements to open a merchant Link account? Okay,
excellent question. So what you're going to need is a TCC. And if you don't have a TCC, just show us that you have a letter of application for the TCC. You're going to need a company certificate, articles of association, and proof of a bank account. And the bank account can be anywhere locally. Once you have those things, you can open a Link merchant account, and you'll be able to unlock multiple channels with that. One, of course, there's scan and pay, so you get a QR code which allows you to scan Link. And also Jamdex, we do offer Jamdex on our wallet. We're the first and only wallet at the moment now to offer Jamdex payments, both on the merchant side and on the consumer side. And then, of course, we have APIs that will allow you to integrate into your website or your app if you have one.
How is that going with Jamdex? Are people using it?
So people are curious. We're not getting the usage as we would have hoped based on the public-private partnership that we have with the government. But now with the incentive program that has come into play via Nigel Clark's office and the Bank of Jamaica, where the first 10,000 merchants to sign up for a digital wallet, and this could be through Link and any other wallet provider in the space. I know JN is coming out soon. And you accept 5 Jamdex payments, you will qualify for $25,000 in Jamdex as a beneficiary payment. So what we're seeing now is we have multiple partnerships out there to bring on the merchants. Once you're in, we'll sign you up, get you activated. Once you accept the payments, your information will go over to the Bank of Jamaica, and the benefits will be paid out. So the traction is slow, but with the incentive program, we expect a ramp up very soon.
I think it's a little bit tricky for people to understand, like, what's the difference in using Jamdex versus just funding Link from your bank account.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Link is by the regulator defined as e-money, and e-money is what we know today. It's fiat that has been digitized. It's based on cash value, so there's physical cash that backed e-money, and it's usually backed by a commercial bank. So, you know, when you get paid to your bank account, that's based on e-money, and then you can utilize a debit card or a credit card and spend. And again, that's e-money. CBDC now is digital currency. It was never backed by cash, and it is also not backed by the commercial bank, but it's now backed by the central bank. So the regulatory requirements and protection that CBDC provides is different from e-money, which is provided by a private institution like a commercial bank. So there is a difference. You know, the government will issue Jamdex CBDC similar to how they issue cash, and the expectation is that it should be distributed across the network for all Jamaicans to benefit from it. And you know, Jamdex itself comes with some benefits you get if you're a consumer and you spend Jamdex between now and March 31st, 2024. You get 2% cash back on all your payments up to $5,000. You don't get that with cash. You don't get that with e-money. So you get that with Jamdex. So that's a big benefit that the government is putting out there. So there's one benefit for the merchants and another benefit for the consumers.
That is a nice incentive. I don't know how I've been, you know, late on following up on some of these new developments. But once that, you know, promotional period is over, what really is the benefit of using Jamdex as opposed to just using e-money?
So let's look at it as options, right? So what Jamdex gives the market is interoperability. So Link has a wallet that offers Jamdex. JN is launching a wallet that will also offer Jamdex. And other banks and other fintechs will be launching different applications that can also utilize Jamdex. The beauty about it is that irrespective of the platform that you're using, irrespective of the wallet that you have, you know, once we are in Jamdex enabled, we can communicate, we can speak, we can share money. So Jamdex brings interoperability to the market. E-money itself is proprietary. So Link can only send to Link, and you can only shop with Link money at a Link merchant. With Jamdex, if there's a Jamdex enabled merchant who was onboarded by some other institution and you have a Jamdex wallet, you can use it. So what I would say is that it's about having options. Similar to how, you know, some people in the wallet, they have a credit card from one institution and a bank account at another institution. It's just options that you want to utilize to spend. And you might be getting Jamdex for path payments. You might be getting Jamdex for some type of government incentive. So you have, you know, access to your Jamdex and now you want to utilize it along with your e-money, along with your credit card. So, you know, the government has given us the opportunity to innovate and the opportunity to provide the market with options so that you can spend, you know, whichever channel you feel comfortable using.
Yeah, you explained it beautifully just now. I feel like we need to get that out there more for people to truly understand what it is, because it's kind of hard to wrap your head around the concept of digital money. Like, it's not like, I understand e-money. My money is in the bank. I can get it out at any time, hold it in my hand. But digital money now, Jamdex, central bank digital currency, CBDC, I can't see or feel it ever.
You can't. You won't. I mean, you can. We allow it to cash it out, but essentially it sits with the central bank. So, you know, not to get too techie, but it sits on what they call a digital plate, which is just a server that has the money on it. And this is managed and controlled by the central bank in partnership with the commercial banks. But at the end of the day, the funds really sit with the central bank and are protected by the central bank. So, you know, it can't die unless the central bank goes away. And I don't think they're going anywhere for now.
Let me give you a comment here from one of the viewers just to demonstrate the point. QB Quillholic says, this world is propelling into a realm of unknown fueled by lies and illusions. I mean, at least fiat money is tangible. What now? They'll just literally pull money from thin air?
So, and that's a valid point. So let's not look at Jamdex like cryptocurrency, which is that I don't know what that's based on a lot of assumptions. In this case, the central bank has a facility to create money, similar to what they do now with cash, but they're creating a percentage of that. Not all of it will be done in cash. Some of it will be done in Jamdex, and that will be available for distribution. But again, it is owned and managed by the central bank. I can't get up and mint, you know, $1 million worth of Jamdex like that. It's just like, oh, I can't really go and print money. It has to come from some central source. In this case, it is our regulator, the central bank. So there is a lot of management and control around how much money is in the ecosystem, how it can be spent, and how it will be managed. So, you know, it is scary, It is fairly new, but it's the way the world is going. And if we have another session in the next 10 years, Khalila, I'm sure we're going to be, cash might be a thing that is in the history books. We're like, cash, I can't tell when else I use cash. There are some countries now that just like China, where of course they're totally different setup, but it's very difficult for you to utilize cash in China and even some of the other parts of the first world. So things eventually will propagate, and we'll be utilizing a lot of digital means for distribution.
Same. I barely use cash anymore. It's just much more convenient for me. So speaking of cash though, Tiwi wants to know, do you plan to make ATM cash in out accessible at other banks' ATMs?
Tiwi, very good question. We would love to expand the Link network and even the Jamdex network across the bank. So because the central bank also regulates the commercial banks, the assumption is that they will enable Jamdex at their ABMs at some point in time. Link, though, as a private entity, we are looking to expand our network outside of just the ABMs. So the ABMs have limitations. They run out of cash quite quickly now. Sometimes they don't work, especially at the end of the month. So we're looking at other means and other channels to allow for cash in, cash out. So we're going to be building our agency network soon, where you'll be able to walk into authorized, areas that are certified to distribute funds, and you can literally walk in there and cash in, cash out.
All right, Gada has another great question. He wants to know, can you tell us about the security of Link? Are there any insurance on funds in Link account? If so, what are the insured limits?
Okay, so let me start with the first question, which is security. So Link is built on security, and that's because we deal with money. We deal with people's money, and we are trying to onboard individuals who are already digital skeptics, right? They're very cash based. You can tell them now that they can put money on their phone. They're like, what the hell are you talking about? How safe is this thing? So the app itself, the center of the app is the customer, and we look at the needs and the value stream of each customer. And what we notice is that outside of convenience, safety, and speed, security was one of the big pillars that we had to address. So I've built, encryption. We utilize biometric facilities. We have, anti-money laundering screening. We have all these different things, that allow the app to be tamper-proof, so that somebody, if somebody is even attempting to hack the app, it responds in a way that says, look, I don't know, this is strange behavior. Let me do something else. So I'll give you an example. If I happen to phish, Khalila's credentials from whichever means, sweet up, I get her information, username and password, and I try to log into with her credentials, and my device is going to say, I know this account, but I've never seen this device associated with the account before. So before we allow you to log in, let me see your face. And it's going to launch an experience in the app that says, show me your face so I can compare the face that I'm about to capture with the face that I captured during onboarding. I don't look like Khalila, so it's not going to allow me into the app. Likewise, if you're doing transactions that are of high risk, it's going to also prompt you to show your face, enter your PIN, or do some action that only you know about before it commits that transaction. So we build a lot of security around the technology, and we build a lot of security around the experience and usage. No, in terms of insurance, no. So we're not a bank, and so we have no banking insurance. What we have to rely on is the fact that we have so much security in the app that you have to trust that nothing will happen to your money. We have never had a case where somebody is out of pocket, and it will not happen, not under my watch. But there's no deposit insurance as yet for digital wallets. We're hoping that the regulations and the laws will change as digital wallets come on stream. We're still learning much about them. It's a transactional wallet now, so people don't store money in it. You fund it, you use it, and then the balance is usually zero. But as people start to use it more day to day, and people start to store funds in the wallet, we're going to be approaching the BOJ and the relevant authorities to see what type of insurance we can put in place now to add another level of protection for our customer base.
John Matthew, we have a whole heap of comments in the chat. I'm not going to be able to get to all of these questions. Questions and comments are both there, but I'm just going to have to try my best to filter out some of them. So sure. Craig has a question, and this is related to, you guys did have some issues about a month ago, and people were bashing you on social media. I know you had to take that heat. So Craig wants to know, what about the issue Link has been having? Access to funds, access to account across devices, issues when transferring between Jamdex and Link. How are you dealing with those issues? And what's the
right.
status of those issues now? Are you still having those issues?
Okay, so good question. So all the issues have been resolved, and as we build and learn, we're going to buck up on some hurdles that we need to cross. It's just a part of tech. The good thing is that we're built to respond quickly, and we're built to also identify these issues quickly. So some of them we identify immediately through our own channels, and some of them, of course, rely on our customers who are yes, disgruntled. But the beauty about it, what we have seen is, if customers complain about something, it means that they also care, right? Something could happen, they just leave it alone because they really don't care. So they do reach out to us, and we have our feedback channels to fix them. So the initial one was funding of the wallet. So there are multiple ways to fund the wallet. Some of the channels we don't control. Some of the channels are based on third-party integrations. So we do have to rely on the infrastructure of the third party to be up to speed, available 99.95% of the time, so that we can provide that service. So for some of the funding channels, we had some issues. We have spoken to our vendors and our partners to ensure that these things have been resolved. We have also built the app around identifying the issues and communicating much better to the customer when these issues do arise. So, you're funding your wallet through your NCB account. The funds don't reach. There is no message in the app. We have now fixed that to say that there is an error, you'll be refunded in X amount of time. We have been working close with the NCB to also refund these things within the SLAs that we have in place, because people never want to be out of pocket. The second one was with Jamdex. So there were some days recently where persons were trying to move their Jamdex to Link, and the conversions failed. That has also been addressed. Again, this was done through our commercial bank partner and the BOJ. We did a whole extensive exercise to get those resolved. And the last thing, of course, that I know about when we're getting a lot of heat, as Kalila would have mentioned, was the credit card situation, where we had delays in capturing, or what we would call settling credit card payments. So we had a number of customers who would have cashed in via their credit cards over a period. Whilst they got the actual money, we didn't settle on the credit card. And when that was discovered, we had to, in consultation with the commercial bank partner, that's NCB, and the other banks, the plan was that we had to delay the settlements. So what would have happened is, 3 weeks, 4 weeks would have passed, and now you start to see all these transactions just pile up as we settle. So it was a bad experience for the customers. And again, we do apologize in how it went down, but that was the only way that we could have recovered funds and ensure that the business can run, because we in this case were out of pocket, and we know that nobody likes to be out of pocket. But since then, we have put all of the systems in place to track, monitor, and ensure that these things never happen again.
So how long does it take to settle now?
It's immediate. Two things. The credit card settlement happens once you draw down on your credit card to fund the Link wallet. You do get the money immediately, and we do capture that file instantly. And then settlement through the commercial bank happens at the end of the day. But no, we are passing over that information to the commercial bank to ensure that the books are balanced. So these things happen now on a daily basis within the specified time of the SLAs between the card network and the commercial banks and the merchant. In this case, the merchant is Link. So these delayed transactions will not be happening again, not with us.
Well, Natoya has a question. What happens if the Link site goes down?
So
I guess your servers, I don't know what you use.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's the servers, right? So the website going down still wouldn't happen, but we are built in the cloud, and there's a lot of redundancy around it. So if a server goes down, another one is made available. Depending on how many servers go down, we can literally automatically spin up services to make the services continuously available. And we have invested a lot of money in the infrastructure to ensure that we have redundancy in place. So to date, as we scale and grow the platform, it has never gone down before. We don't intend for it to go down, and we are continuously monitoring traffic. So we want more users on the platform. We have a target of 400,000 soon. We won't give you the exact date, but we're at 220. And based on this, our services are built for that type of capacity. So based on where we are now with cloud services, which are very reliable, we don't anticipate Link going anywhere, going down anytime soon.
So Elaine says, cashless is the new order of things. We moved from using silver and gold to paper coins for daily transactions. Swipe, Link, and go. History repeating itself. And guess what? She also wants in on you, not you, John Matthew, but Link. She wants to know, when is the IPO? Is that in your plans?
So let me address one thing. So with Link, is not swipe and go; it's going to be tap and go. But you know, do we have IPO inspirations? Naturally, we do. The company is built, and we want Jamaica to experience a piece of it. So as we grow the business and we hit the relevant targets, you know, we do intend at some point in time to go public and allow, you know, customers to buy into this awesome organization.
At some point in time, so like no timeline, like
no timeline as it. No timeline as it. But just, you know, the more success we bring is the closer we are to an IPO. So just become a part of the network, become a part of the community, help us to be successful so that one day you'll see the announcement that Link is about to go public, and you know, depending on where you are, you invest and you help us to grow even further. We do have expansion plans though outside of Jamaica one day. So these will be some of the reasons why we'll definitely be seeking funding by IPO.
Well, before we go, I have one last issue to raise with you, because I've seen a few people raise it in the comments, and it's about your customer service. So I see some people saying that they're commending you for great customer service, but others have had a negative experience. And one of them is saying, where did the comment go? I can't find my... Why is there not a customer service contact number for users to get issues resolved? And yeah, he's saying he had a bad experience. He had several other comments too.
All right, so that's something that we're looking into now. So in launching the business as a fintech, we decided that what we will do is utilize the digital channels because they're cheaper and they're available 24 hours. So we have a WhatsApp and we have the chat. But we have learned that that's not, within the Jamaican context, that's not the best channel for customer service. So we're now investing in opening up the channels to allow for you to directly call us. You will get a human at the end of the phone call so that we can help to resolve the issues. We're putting in more systems in place so that our customer care team can also resolve the issues whilst you're on the phone or within the chat. So, you know, I do apologize that, you know, when we had launched a platform, we were very digital heavy, digital centric because we were a fintech. But you know, the beauty about it is that we live and learn. We don't know everything and we're not perfect, but we always use the opportunity to get the feedback as we have been getting from the customer base about what makes them comfortable, especially with an app that holds their money. You know, you want to get back access, you want to learn things. Sometimes you want to speak to a human because you want your issue resolved by somebody. You want to speak to somebody to get the issues resolved. So we have a customer care team now that we're building out along with the infrastructure to allow you to make a phone call, to call us, to get in, have a conversation, and have your issues resolved with them. So
when will that be available?
Can't give you the date, but I want to say that by summer, you know, you'll see a lot of changes, and summer is around the corner, right? I'm not saying like Christmas. Summer is a couple weeks away. So by summer, we're going to be building out that infrastructure for you, and we're also expanding our channels now so that you can, you know, have better service via WhatsApp and via a chatbot before we roll out the calling system, the phone system.
All right. Last comment, Strong Link says you really need to make it a strong link.
Yes, Mama. Yes, definitely.
All right. Well, thank you again, John Matthew. I hope to have you on again when you're doing your IPO, when you have some other updates for us.
Thanks for having me again.